Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm glad you guys can join me today. My name is Marcus, and today I'm actually giving you guys a weekly status report. Now, last Tuesday, I started a 30-day challenge, and today marks the 7th day. Now, the reason I started this whole 30-day challenge was to become more self-connected. Now, before last Tuesday, I have been doing a meditation, every day for the past year and a half. And although meditation has really helped me, it hasn't really connected me to myself, right? It was more to put positivity into my life, right? To think about, different things in my life that I wanted to correct, and to, just add positivity first thing in the morning. And although that did help a lot, I still was not gaining any kind of, self-connection. And then I ran across this author / comedian, and his name is Kyle Cease. And he had this 100-day transformation thing where he essentially sat in silence for 2 hours and essentially recorded himself every day after the sessions, just to see how his transformation was, sitting in silence for 2 days to try to self-connect, right? To just be, right? So that's essentially what this whole 30-day challenge was for me to, go an hour every day. And essentially I've been posting on Instagram, after these sessions, what exactly I feel right afterwards, right? And so I've been doing this every day for the past 7 days. And again, this makes, the 7th day. This is my weekly status report. And so essentially this is why I started the whole thing, right? And so because of Kyle Cease and just be, right? So I'm sitting in silence every day for an hour, just being. And the first couple days, I must say, were a little weird because of the fact that, in meditation, I was doing kind of meditation where I wouldn't sit silent, right? I would actually concentrate on the breathing. There were specific things I was always concentrating on, right? So I started out with a breath, and then I would go to, small things like gratitude. I would start, saying the things I was grateful for, and then I would move on to like things I wanted to change about myself. And then I would, move on to like, visualizing the future kind of thing. Where this, I sat in silence, and then, for the past 7 days I've been sitting in silence, and I've noticed, especially the first couple of days, that it's really been chaotic, right? There's been a lot of random thoughts just pop in my head, and I normally start out with thoughts of the day, right? What has been going on through the day, and essentially what I've been trying to do is allow these thoughts to come up, right? And when they come up, I let them happen, and some thoughts linger a little bit longer than others, but I essentially think this is what the whole process of this is, right? Is to let those thoughts come up and really dive deep into myself, especially since there's been so much going on, to really look at those thoughts and kind of just let them be, right? Kind of let them play out in your head. Don't really, fight those thoughts and see what happens, right? Essentially is what this whole 30-day challenge is. And so over the past 7 days, I've had some really interesting thoughts. I know after the first couple days, I started thinking about random things like adventure, right? And I was like, when's the last time I really went on an adventure, right? I haven't been on any kind of wild adventure. Although, those kind of thoughts and ideas, I think, have been taken away. I think ever since like being a parent now, your thoughts, switch from you into your children, right? And so you kind of take yourself out of the equation. And so, just thinking about adventure and like what kind of adventure, do I want to have in my life right now? I know your kids are always priority number one, and they should be, but the thing is you forget about yourself, right? You put yourself on the back burner when I don't think that's something you should do, right? Because your kids will eventually leave at some point, so you should be able to set yourself up, even though your kids are priority and you're taking care of them, that you still seek out those things that you want, right? That you want to achieve in life. And if you, put your life on hold and then wait the 18 years, where are you going to be at that point, right? So I think that was a big message I got out of that self-reflection on that particular session that I had. Now for a couple of the other sessions, again, I spend a good portion of the beginning just dealing a lot with like daily thoughts, like stuff that's going on, right? And so I don't really think a lot about those particular things, but I know just today, I just actually finished a session today, and over the past couple of days, actually, I've been really reflecting over the past, year and a half, 2 years almost, about the different changes in my life. And there's been a lot of change in my life over the past, 2.5 years, or yeah, roughly 2.5 years. And I've documented some of those particular things on my channel here. And, one of them mainly being my father's death, passing of ALS, which wasn't easy to see, right? But I've noticed the past 7 days that I've been able to think about that a little bit more, right? Without having, becoming over emotional about everything. Now, it's emotional for anybody to deal with the death of a parent, especially if you're close to them. And I was very close with my father, especially, getting at older age, I was getting really close with my father. And so I've just been reflecting the past couple of days on what's been going on just over those 2.5 years. I've again gone through a lot. I've gone through, career changes. I've gone through, a divorce. I've gone through, dealing with major health issues and stuff like that over the past 2 years. So it's been very stressful. And so to kind of reflect on that, I've noticed my thoughts have been, when I've been doing these sessions, my thoughts have been really, gravitating toward that. And how did I overcome these things, right? And, I think the biggest thing that I found was that, I kept myself busy, and it seemed like doom and gloom, right? And I'm not trying to make this video all doom and gloom, because that's not what I'm about, but it seemed very dark, right? There was no light in my life, but I try to be positive about everything. That's why I took on meditation, to try to, keep those positive thoughts in. I think that's what really helped, pull me out of that negative energy, right? And pull me into this more positive kind of energy. And then now seeing these sessions that I'm doing now and reflecting on it, it really makes me see how the meditation helped. It really makes me see that I took it day by day, right? Essentially. So I took myself from a position that, felt hopeless into a position that was hopeful, and kept myself busy, right? I only took it a day at a time. I knew if I just told myself, right, because I've been through other things in my life where it will take time, right? It circles around. The good and the bad, are like polar opposites, right? So you're gonna, at one point in your life, you'll be extremely happy, but you have to realize at the same point that it will circle back around. And then when you are in those negative times in your life, that you have to understand that it will circle around to the good times again. So you just have to stay positive, you have to stay hopeful. And I think that's what really got me out of, falling into a deep sense of depression at that time. And it kept me going, right? Because I know a lot of people will seek other avenues to, try to, get rid of the emotion, and whatever that may be. And a lot of times it's not a positive one. And, a lot of people, run to drinking. I know a lot of people that I know have ran to drinking, and it's not something I wanted to do, right? I wanted to do it in a positive way. And so it's hence why I really did discover Ignite as well, was to help pull me through that section, right? To build something, to concentrate on something that wouldn't pull me away from or falling into that cycle of negativity, right? So that was the biggest thing, was trying to concentrate on that. And again, taking it day by day. So, first thing was I got my health back on track. I became vegan and dealt with that, and wasn't sure how people were gonna, understand where I was coming from going vegan because of my major health issues. And then coming out of that and starting to become healthier, and then starting to work on the mental side of it, right? And take it day by day and understand that every day was going to be better. You know, I was glad and happy that I was able to get my health back on track, and then, you know, work through that, right? And I think the biggest thing was, right, when I was been going through these sessions the past couple of days, is just reflecting on that and how I got through it. That, you know, my health was a big thing, because it kind of worked out, right, in a way, in a weird sense, right? Is like I got my health back on track, and then my father passed, so I was dealing with that, but I was in a healthier state, right? So I think that helped. It helped me get through my father's passing in a way, right? I mean, it was still hard getting through my dad's passing, but then I started thinking about, you know, this is why Discover Ignite was created, was to help, you know, get me through, concentrating on the one thing that would pull me through ultimately. And so essentially, I think the biggest thing is when you're dealing with anything in life, right? Where if you're dealing with all these things and it just seems like, you know, everything just starts, you know, compiling on each other, and then it just feels like there's just this mass thing that keeps pushing you into a bunch of negativity. You have to realize that yes, eventually you will pull yourself out, right? I did get healthy before my father passed, and then, you know, my father did pass, and I was dealing with that, right, in my own way. And I'm actually able to talk about it better without getting emotional, right? And that's the biggest thing, is I'm able, yes, things will be changed forever, and I'm coping with that, and I have cope with that and realize that I'm getting a lot better with that. I don't get emotional when I talk about my father's death now. And I mean, that also comes in waves, right? Some days are better than others, but majority of the time it's much better than it was, right? And so that's one thing I've noticed. If you're going through anything in life, just to, you know, push through, right? Realize there will be a brighter day, right? Things do change, but you know, those people will never be forgotten, or, you know, whatever events you're going through, you know, they will never be forgotten. But we move on, right? We get better, we grow stronger, we grow out of those experiences. And as difficult as it may seem, there's always growth there, right? There's always growth. You always become a better person on the other side. And so reflecting on these days and realizing that, you know, keeping busy every day, you know, feeling every minute of every day with something, right? Whatever it is. So that's the whole thing I started realizing. Like, if I was sitting watching TV, or sitting in my bed and just sleeping and not doing anything and not staying busy and not allowing myself to take advantage of every minute, right? And I think that was the biggest help, was going after my health and trying to get my health on track, because it was at a critical point, right? And especially having young kids, I didn't want to, you know, leave my kids fatherless, essentially. And so again, reflecting on these past couple of days, doing these sessions, those ideas and thoughts, and even today, you know, my dad popped into my mind, and I was like, you know, I can actually think about my dad now without, again, getting emotional. And maybe today is just a good day, I don't know, but I've noticed I'm able to think about him more without, you know, becoming emotional. And especially with the holidays and everything, you know, it's not bothering me as much as I think it would typically. And the past couple of months have just flown by. So reflecting and allowing myself to see the growth that I've had over the past couple of months, and what I've been building, and keeping myself busy, and understanding that, you know, as long as I kept that positive outlet, as long as I kept busy, as long as I kept it day to day, that things would work out, right? That things would make my way to where I'm at today. And I feel much better today than I have felt in, you know, months, right? From where I was at when my health was bad, like a year and a half ago, 2 years almost now, where I was going through so much that the end of the tunnel, it seemed hard to picture, right? But now it's not so hard, or now it's more, you know, I'm starting to come out of that, right? I'm starting to come out of that daze and realize that, you know, not everything's blending together anymore. And these self-reflections, I think, have really helped expose a lot of that, about the growth that I've had over the past couple of months. And, you know, where I ultimately want to be, right? And so again, I've definitely enjoyed these sessions a lot better than, again, meditation. And the reason for that is because I'm allowing myself to connect better with myself, right? And understand that, you know, life is an adventure, right? And as an adults, I think we forget that, right? We think about, you know, what's more important, right? Is all these standards that all these other people tell us that we need to abide by. And we forget that, you know, we were kids at one point, and we did have that sense of adventure, and that, you know, we have to try to think of all these different things as an adventure, right? Not as good or bad, but just that things will come around, right? Even in every good adventure story, you always, you know, it always comes with, you know, times in your life where, you know, it's gonna seem like it's gonna be doom or gloom, and you have to overcome. And as long as you're positive and know you'll make it out on top, you eventually do, right? And you eventually get through that story. And there is, you know, I wouldn't say a happy ending, because it does roll around, right? You do have your good moments and your bad moments, but it does get better, right? You take those steps forward, not so much backwards, right? And that's what you have to, again, pay attention to through a lot of this stuff, right? Just going through life and reflecting and understanding that it will get better. Just as long as you're busy and you take it day by day, and you don't look, you know, so far into the future that you're just hopeful that that one day will come. And again, you don't reflect so much back on the past that is holding you back, but you stay present and you realize that in this moment right now, this is how I feel right now. And, you know, I appreciate the things that have gotten me this far, and that's why it's important to reflect. And it's also, you know, important to have those big dreams, right? And work towards those goals every day, and understand that it will all be better in the future, right? That no matter where you are, it's, as long as you're making, you know, some kind of positive move every day, doing the things that you need to be doing every day, and keep busy, right? And account for every minute of every day, and try to take advantage of those minutes, and realize that you will get better, right? And you will be better than you were yesterday. And that's ultimately what it matters, right? Because we're always trying to do better than yesterday. And no matter what you go through, the goods or the bads, you'll always, again, just try to do better than yesterday. And so that's ultimately what it comes down to. And I hope this weekly status report is something that you guys can help, you know, give you guys some insight, not only into my life, but into your life, and what you can do to improve your life, and the things that you can incorporate into your lives that will help you do that, right? So this is ultimately, again, what Discover Ignite's all about, is to, you know, discover the possibilities in your life, and then, you know, ignite that change in your life that you really want to incorporate into your life. And so ultimately, that's what I'm trying to do here. That's what I want to share with you guys. And I want you to try to ignite those dreams of yours, and, you know, experience those different things that you've always been curious about, right? Because again, our curiosity and our adventure, you know, was once there. So we just got to try to find it and reconnect with that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And again, I will be doing, you know, a couple more status reports every Tuesday, and then let you guys know what my experiences are in my sessions. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please smash that like button. And until next time, I will see you guys later.